Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another basement production in Armpit Studios of the MATIC show. It's good to see you all. Well, I can't really see you, but I can imagine you out there looking at me going, not the same shtick again. But I'll tell you, things are getting nuts. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this trucker thing is just not what people think it is. A lot of lefties even seem to have jumped on the bandwagon, the freedom train or whatever. Yeah, when you have people like Trump and Ted Cruz, Marjorie Taylor Greene offering support for this, you know that something is up. And that something that's up is trying to overthrow our government. Now, I am all in support of freedom. Of course, everybody is. Well, not everybody. I guess a lot of people seem to want to live under a fascist dictatorship, but I personally do not. I have felt a false sense of security living in the land of the maple leaf. And as I go forward, I am disheartened. I am disheartened by how many Americans who have no knowledge whatsoever of the Canadian political system, and they're jumping on board this anti-Trudeau bandwagon. It's conservatives. It's Ted Cruz. It's so obvious. The numbers have been vastly overestimated or deliberately exaggerated. My God, when you have somebody on Fox News saying there's 50,000 trucks involved, when at official count it's around 250, and most of them aren't even truckers, they're owners. And sure, just because there's a few Nazi flags and Confederate flags and American flags, don't worry about that. The vast majority are peaceful, happy protesters. I'm fed up. I'm fed up as a Canadian, and I don't care who knows it. And any American that supports these Nazis, and I will call them Nazis because that's what they are, this very same tactic was used for supporting Bolsonaro in Brazil. Look it up. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the misinformation. I'm tired. I'm fed up. And I think I speak for millions and millions of Canadians who are fed up with phony leftists in the States claiming to know all kinds of things about our political system and healthcare system. They know absolutely nothing. And it really comes down to an issue of where does your freedom begin and somebody else's end? Because honestly, it's not about freedom. Freedom would be if we could all get over this damn virus, if we could get past it. But that's not going to happen. Instead, it's been politicized and turned into this ridiculous thing. I don't understand why people are terrified of getting a needle. I'm sorry, I've been vaxxed. It's nothing. And here's the thing that's so Machiavellian about this. This is completely preying on people's fears, on people's ignorance, and people's stupidity. Freedom. What is freedom? None of us are truly free, are we? In a world that's imploding. We don't have enough to worry about with the glaciers melting, climate change out of control, imminent destruction and death on a widespread scale. We don't have enough to worry about, but you gotta worry about your damn freedom. I want the freedom to not be infected. I have had enough health problems over the last couple of years, and the last thing I want is to end up in the hospital because of your freedom. Because that's not freedom for me, is it? Now, aside from the guy standing there with the Jewish conspiracy thing about the vaccines, that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? These vaccines, yes, the ones that are being made by the disgusting pharmaceutical companies, which I agree are disgusting. And most disgusting of all is not sharing their formula with the rest of the world. It's deplorable, of course. But what about Cuba? Yeah, Cuba, the Cuba you love to hate. At least they look after their own citizens, and they've developed a vaccine that's going around the world. Well done, Pfizer. Your billions are safe. The ability of people to delude themselves has increased a lot. And I blame social media. I blame the traditional media, or legacy media, as some people like to call it. People don't trust each other anymore. And Hambone, your oasis of freedom, has a very strange idea when it comes to freedom. Did you know that the entire nation of Canada, which exceeds the population of Florida by a number of times, had less COVID deaths than your oasis of freedom? Now, I suppose the freedom might include the burning of books. I'm introducing a new feature this week, and it's Comment of the Week. Now, I really appreciate your comments, and even you want to call me a jerk and an asshole or whatever, that's your right, and I won't take it down. Anyway, the comment of the week for last week's video is from Keith Hayes. Now, Keith has, I guess, had some issues with Hambone in the past, and he just wrote me a nice comment saying, I told him I wasn't particularly concerned about what Hambone said, or what he thinks. It's his right to do so. Keith got back to me, and with this comment: not to be concerned about what he thinks is the right answer for sure. I have a different idea of freedom than DeSantis. Yeah, I get it. Paradoxically, my idea of freedom is a person's ability to understand limits and deal with them while maintaining personal integrity and maintaining virtue. The ability to put your own limits on yourself and live within those limits, to be in control of oneself, not to be buffeted around by random acts of life. That is true freedom. Certainly freedom is not the freedom to follow the addictive meme of another blind fool, especially when real science and real medicine is perverted to meet selfish ends. The freedom to follow a Pied Piper I do not wish for. Thank you, Keith Hayes. That was this week's Comment of the Week. Apparently, there's kind of a new development on this protest front. These freedom people are blocking the most important border crossing bridge. It's not far from here. It's about, 100 miles or so. And it feeds auto parts plants. It brings produce. And they have blocked it completely, losing, I think it's $500 million a day in business, cross-border travel. Auto plants have been shut down, and they're using children, yes, their children, as human shields, so as to not take responsibility for their actions. Now this is going to expand throughout America, the land of freedom, with a B. They are not going to get the same reception from the government in the US as they are in Canada. Trudeau has been incredibly patient. He is not talking about bringing in the military, in spite of the memes that appear frequently by freedom people. But these people are going to face consequences, deservedly so. You're interrupting the lives of millions of Canadians and Americans, shutting down their ability to work because their freedom to not wear a mask is more important. And anybody who claims to be on the left and supports this right-wing coup, yes, that's what it is, an attempt to bring down a legitimately elected government.
This crap is coming to a city near you. And how the Americans deal with it will be interesting to see. I'm sure they will not be able to occupy a city for 2 weeks and get away with it. Well, I guess that's about it for my rant for this week. I don't really care if it pisses anybody off. It's just the way I feel, and I say the truth as I perceive it. I'm not saying I'm right all the time, or even most of the time, but I know for sure on this issue I'm right. Anyway, don't want to lose any friends over this. If you've been duped, you've been duped, and there's not much I can do to change your mind. However, I will still care about you. I'd like to shout out to Alistair, who had a civil email exchange with me, and I do stress the word civil. I'm not sure, but he came around at least a little bit to my side, and this is what we need more of, more dialogue between people, and less shouting and less insulting. We live in an age of misinformation, of outright lies and exaggerations, and it's just the way things are. And this is bound to stir up divisions and all kinds of trouble, and it's not worth it. You can choose whatever information you want to accept. You can listen to Alex Jones, for instance, and believe everything that comes out of that shit-stain's mouth. But, you know, I mean, it's a big world, and we have different opinions, and I still say talk it out instead of shout it out. But still, when people are thoroughly brainwashed, it's really hard to talk things out. Anyway, be well, everybody, and I'll see you, hopefully, next week. Oh, leave some comments. Come on. I like lots of comments. I answer most of them. Sometimes I got a little behind on my last answering them. One fellow wrote this big, long soliloquy, and I have yet to answer it because I always feel compelled to write down a lot of my thoughts, but maybe I shouldn't do that anymore and just sort of go, okay, hi. But that's boring. So if you like a discourse, leave comments. And I don't care if you disagree with me. Oh, I do not ever delete comments. I must reiterate the fact that I do not delete the comments that get deleted, even ones that don't agree with me. I do not delete. So you can rest assured that if your comment has been deleted, it has been the friendly folks at Google who have protected you from free speech, I guess, or something. I don't know. Anyway, stay well, and I'll talk to you all in a week.